So, as Father said, I'm Alex Bosch. I'm the daughter of Kent and Janet Bosch, and I grew up going to St. Joe's in Montevideo. And in 2 weeks, I'll be entering as a postulant with the Handmaids of the Heart of Jesus. They're a religious community down in New Ulm. And Father just asked if I would share a little bit about my journey with the Lord to lead me to this point, and a bit more about the handmaids and their way of life. So I've had a very gradual discernment as the Lord has just been very gently leading me to this place in my life. I guess I would say I first started to take more of a personal interest in my faith while I was preparing for confirmation, my junior year of high school, which led me to be convicted that faith was going to be an important aspect of my life in college as I moved on to the University of Minnesota, where I studied math education. And I was really surprised to find at the U a very large Catholic community, and I got involved in a student group called St. Paul's Outreach, where I met other men and women who were just set on fire for the faith, and they really inspired me to take the faith more seriously, and through their witness as well, to develop more of a personal relationship with the Lord through daily prayer. And I also, during my college years, really fell in love with Catholic community and recognizing how important that was. And I first started being open to religious life about 4 years ago, before my junior year of college. Before that point, I had never grown up knowing any sisters and had never really considered that possibility for my life. In fact, I went to college partly because I was hoping to meet my spouse. And it's really funny how the Lord really worked in that, because during my college years, I was falling more and more in love with Him, and how He just led me to that point. So 4 years ago, I just was convicted to take a year of singleness in order to focus on my relationship with the Lord and with other women who I was going to be living with in a Catholic household. And it just ended up being a really transformative year for me, where I just became more open to God's plan for my life and trusting in Him and what He had in store. And also during that year, I had the opportunity to go down to Denver, Colorado on a mission trip where we were working with the homeless. And it was a really powerful week for me. But during one of the masses, in particular, I just had this sense from the Lord that maybe He was calling me to something more than my plan of becoming a math teacher. And I wasn't really sure at the time what that was, but I was really excited by it and to see what He had in store for me. So going into my senior year of college, I decided to try to discern my vocation, and I was trying to be open to both marriage or religious life. And then I realized I actually had no idea what religious life looked like. So I went on a come and see retreat with the handmaids, and a come and see is just a time for young women to go to the convent for a weekend and just be with the sisters and experience their way of life. And it was a really beautiful opportunity for me to see the sisters interact in their community. And I was surprised to find out that they were actually quite normal. And they did things like play basketball and go to high school sporting events. And it was just a really peaceful time for me in prayer that weekend as well. But I didn't really receive any clarity at that time that this was where I was called to be, which made sense because after I graduated college, I was heading to Ireland to serve with Net Ministries, doing some youth ministry work. So that year I was pretty focused on the mission, loving the youth we were serving and the team I was on. But vocation, the question would still pop up every once in a while in prayer, so I knew that the Lord wasn't finished with that whole thing yet. So then when I came back from Net last year, I found out about a discernment house that the Archdiocese and the Handmaids were starting in Minneapolis, where young women who wanted to just more seriously discern their vocation could come and live in community, have prayer and mass every day, and also some spiritual direction. And so this last year has been really grace-filled for me to just have the space to ask the question and start to recognize the deeper desires in my heart that I wanted to give the Lord everything and to be fully available to Him and to love whomever He was calling me to love. And also during this time, I was back at the U in grad school working towards my math education licensure. And so during my student teaching, although I loved teaching the math, I was really longing to share deeper truths with my students, like that they were known and loved by God, and it was really challenging to do in a public school. So as I had all these desires going on, I was also visiting the handmaids a few more times, and every time I go down, it was just continued to be very peaceful and joyful, and there was gradually more and more clarity that that was where the Lord is leading me. And so here I am, about to go down and be with them for the next year, and hopefully life, but so it's about an 8-year discernment process still from here before I'd be making perpetual vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. So these first few years is a lot of formation, and then you make your temporary vows, and then a few more years renew those, and then finally the perpetual vows. So the handmaids, they're a diocesan order, so they serve the New Ulm Diocese in whatever ways are needed. Right now that looks like a couple sisters teaching in the high school down there, working in the office, the diocesan office, doing sacristy work at the cathedral, or teaching other younger sisters within the community. And the fact that they're from my home diocese, and that they're so rooted and just in the community so much was something that was really attractive for me as well, as I've just been desiring to be in rural Minnesota and to serve the people of rural Minnesota. Their other charisms is they're Eucharistic, so they're centered on Christ in the Eucharist. They have a couple holy hours every day in Mass. They're also Marian, so they're following after Mary as an example of the first handmaid of the Lord and being spiritual mothers to everyone. And they're also evangelistic, so they are sharing the good news with all that they encounter as well. They also live on divine providence, so none of the sisters get paid for any of the work that they're doing. They don't do any of their own grocery shopping. They just rely entirely on the generosity of others and the donations they receive of food and household goods. And it's really incredible to see how the Lord provides for them. They have 19 sisters down there right now, and they always have stocked cupboards, and it's just really incredible, the generosity of the community to support them. So I just would ask for your prayers as I just continue to discern what the Lord has for my life, and just know of my prayers for you as well. Thank you.